everybody, welcome to another episode of What a Hell of a Way to Dad. It is your dads, Nate and Francis. Nate, we haven't talked about our next movie, but the Patreon has spoken, and I decided to do a comedy this time around. The choices were Ferris Bueller, Clerks, Breakfast Club, and shit, what was the fourth one? Doesn't matter because Clerks won. So okay. I hope you are ready to watch Kevin Smith's breakout 1994. Although wife and I had a discussion. It's one of those, like, is it Gen X? Is it millennial? I don't know. I don't know where that one kind of lands.
What are you talking about? Yeah. It's Gen X as fuck, dude. Come on. Fucking, it was like movie for people in their 20s in the early to mid 90s. Like that's Gen X squarely.
Yeah. It was just very late in the, because it came out when I was 11, but certainly I feel like if I couldn't have gone to see it in theaters, then we can still kind of cover it under this umbrella. So we're going to be watching Clerks. But Nate, how are you doing? How are you doing today?
I'm all right. I am damp. Joe and Ani are visiting, and they were visiting Switzerland elsewhere in the country, but they flew in and out of Geneva. So I went and saw them and got coffee, and I took them to a little brief historical sites tour of a part of Geneva we had talked about on an Alliance episode recently.
I was going to say, you guys live, now that you're both overseas, like, you know, in America, it's like we can visit the Civil War battlefield and that's it, because that's like the only real war that happened here. But you get a whole wealth of like World War I, I mean, maybe not Switzerland, the neutral zone over there, but
yeah,
you know, you're around a lot of it.
The last time Switzerland fought a war was during the Napoleonic era, but before then, they were constantly fighting wars with each other and their neighbors. In our case, we were talking about the phenomenon of surprise loud booms always being unwelcome in our post-military life. And I was like, oh yeah, I took Cynthia and I took our daughter to this like thing they were celebrating every year. They celebrate the anniversary of this battle that happened in 1602 when the Duchy of Savoy tried to conquer Geneva and was repulsed. And I was like, yeah, we're up by this area where they set up the wall of the reformers, and they had cannons. And I was like, fuck it, we don't have anything going on. If you guys are just waiting on your flight this evening, like, do you want to just go there and I'll literally show it to you? And so I took, because we used to live very close to there, and so I took them up in driving rain, walked up there, and then a couple of other days they still have like a display with some old like mosaics kind of about Geneva history and like a bunch of old cannons on display. So which mercifully is covered. It's kind of in an alcove of like imagine a corner lot of an old building, but it's like an alcove covered area. And so I took them there. But yeah, you know, wore a raincoat, wore umbrella, had an umbrella, still got soaked. But it was nice to get out and, you know, show them around, because I do actually know this place pretty decently well. So yeah, that's what I got going on. And then I am flying tomorrow afternoon to the United Kingdom to mix this album. So I'm really excited. But if I'm being honest, I don't like leaving my family, you know.
No, nobody does.
It's no fun.
You're a family guy. You know, there's wife guys, but then there's family guys. Not the Seth MacFarlane kind. You don't have to be that kind of family guy.
Yeah, I do not want to be away from my partner or my kid. And even when I have to be, it's not as if I enjoy that part. Obviously, when you're off doing something solo and you're in a hotel room sleeping, or in our case, a shared rental house sleeping, you typically don't have small child waking you up in the middle of the night, which is nice. But I would rather be at home getting woken up in the middle of the night by my kid than being away from my kid. So, you know, that's just, and certainly I don't want to be away from my partner, because she's my best friend. She's my best friend. Like, we talk, we understand each other so well that after all these years, like, you know, you just really like, it's just nice.
Yeah. My wife was out of town and it was just me and the kid for like 5 days. And yeah, it's just like, you know, you don't have a rhythm without that third person. You know, there's a flow to the household. And when somebody is gone for a little bit, it disrupts the whole thing. And I will say, though, they manage better when I'm gone than I manage better when she is gone. And that's just because the two of them are together all the time anyway. So it's like, all right, so we just hang out and Dad's not here to make quesadillas. All right, fine. Like, we have to order food in instead of Dad cooking it, but you know, mostly that's it.
Yeah, and in my case, it's more like, I mean, for Cynthia, it's just a bit harder because her job's pretty demanding, and you know, she's got to be in the office, and so managing this stuff, like when she's away, obviously it's harder than normal for me because I've got to do everything, and then all the other stuff that she does, but my work schedule is pretty flexible and I can work from home full time if I want to. And so right now I kind of have to because I don't have a workspace. And so it's very different than like having to leave work in time to get to daycare to pick up child and take them home and also figure out dinner. You know what I mean? Like for me, I just plan my work day enough that I can start dinner and have it basically ready before I go pick her up from daycare. And we come home, we have dinner, and we handle bedtime, bath time if we're doing a bath and all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff. It's harder. And so I recognize being away, it's harder on Cynthia than it is when she's away, when I'm watching our daughter. But you know, I don't have any trips planned other than this. I mean, there might be, if there's like live shows that come up, sure, fine. But like, this is I'm looking forward to doing this. I'm really am. I'm really excited, but I'm also looking forward to when it's all done, like hopefully big success. Awesome. And then I don't have any long trips planned, you know, yet, hopefully for a decent while.
It's all right, Nate. Eventually, we're going to do that live show at the Eugene V. Deb's house at Terre Haute. We're gonna make that trip. I'm gonna drive an hour and a half, and you're gonna fly across the world. And 12 people who live in Indianapolis are gonna show up.
I'm gonna fly 9 hours to Chicago, and then, frankly, it's probably easier to drive from Chicago to Terre Haute than it is to fly to Indianapolis and then drive over. So yeah, great. That sounds awesome. I can't wait to fucking do that. That sounds incredible.
Well, Nate, speaking of various things that we can do with our podcast, we get a lot of cold emails, and sometimes I'll do videos on the Patreon and I'll read some of these, but I don't really get a chance to share them with you, and I love a cold email. We got Cory Doctorow on because of a cold email. I mean, I really think that's it. I think that's our only win from cold emails. Everything else is just from insane people. But, I want you as, members, half of this podcast to know what we're getting and, have a, I guess, opinion on whether or not we want to bring these guys on.
Our email, but I don't necessarily... I don't really read stuff unless it seems important, and I can immediately tell when it's a cold email and I just don't care. Yeah. So I'm sure you found some gems that I would have missed.
Oh, I'm sure. Like we have a wine lover's guide to parenting. Now I
didn't realize Kirsten Cinema's got a new career.
I absolutely love mixing my alcoholism with my parenting.
Oh yeah, famously a great combination. I'm an excellent byproduct of that.
Yeah, and I don't like. The kids these days aren't doing drugs and they're not drinking anymore. And I don't know, is like wine culture. You're not in America anymore. So I don't know what like wine mom culture is, or if it even exists outside of, it doesn't. It's just,
I mean, it exists in Britain, but it's just alcoholism. Like it's just any form of alcohol. Like there isn't there's kind of like class coding of drinking wine versus, whatever else. But I mean, it's not the same as like, this doesn't count because it's wine.
Mm-hmm. They're not wearing the t-shirts that say, wine is 0 calories or shit like that.
No. That it's, Brits don't really have bumper stickers either. It's just not really common. I mean, they do, but nowhere near as much as America. And one time I did see a bumper sticker on a car that said crippling financial burden on board. And I was like, man, y'all fucking hate your kids so much. But that was one of the rare times I ever saw a bumper sticker. Similarly, wearing a t-shirt like, Wine Mom branded Wine Mom apparel, that wouldn't happen. Here, alcohol is served at stuff all the time, but people don't get fucked up off it. Like when we went to that thing for my daughter's daycare where they did the reenactment of the same battle and like literally for the kids did like a puppet play and like a stage play where like the staff from the daycare reenacted the Escalade of 1602. They had like mulled wine for parents and stuff. Like there was alcohol, and I didn't feel like drinking that night. I didn't have any. But like alcohol is, I mean, you can drink at 16 here. You can't drink hard liquor, but you can drink beer and wine at 16. And I think that there's an extent to which that kind of like feast or famine kind of like sobriety or binging kind of binary. And then also the idea of like, oh, well, if you put this certain window dressing on alcohol consumption, then it's no longer perceived the same way. I mean, I don't necessarily know the culture of this place super, super well. I mean, I live here and I speak the language, but like I couldn't give you like expert authority on it. But my impression is that there isn't that kind of, the kind of like Puritan, sort of either you're sober or you're on a rage or kind of mentality. And so alcohol is kind of like generally kind of destigmatized. It's just part of daily life and a lot of things. I mean, they make wine here, they drink wine here. Like, so I don't really think that it's the same, but I have heard that like Gen Z and Gen Alpha like aren't really drinking, or I mean, Gen Alpha is probably too young still to purchase alcohol legally, but even in like, surveys of kids who would, are of the age where you could, like you and me, like start drinking at like 13, like, that it's far, far less. Now, maybe they're just better at lying, but I also just think that, I don't think it's a bad thing. Generally, I don't think the way we grew up with alcohol is particularly fucking healthy, quite frankly.
No, it's not. Like I know, and it's I have that same back and forth because like, look, I will get addicted to anything. So that's why I don't do anything other than smoke weed and have an occasional beer. I don't know if that would have been better if I was, at the age of 16. If my parents were like, yeah, that's fine, you can have a beer or a wine or whatever. I love the
idea of like, take all the stuff from this era and bring it back to like 1999 when you'd have been 16 in 1999 and your parents are like, we have to be the ones who hold the weed vape, but you get to take one puff on Friday night and one puff on Saturday night. It's like your parents letting you have a small sip of wine or something.
Yeah. Hey man, I grew up Catholic. You get to get a small sip of wine all the time. Now that would have been great if it would have been the body, the blood, and the vape of Christ.
Yeah, I would say like communion, but it's with weed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely a church out there that's probably does not require you to wear pants that I don't want to be in. So we got to pull back on that one.
You get the body of Christ is the communion wafer, and the blood of Christ is hitting the dab rig. You smoke fucking shatter. Everyone's gotta line up and hit the dab rig. That sounds like hell, actually.
Yeah, the worst blunt rotation is just a bunch of other 80-year-old women. I just think about my Catholic church that I went to, and it's just a bunch of 80-year-old women who, maybe if they were hitting the dab rig, we would have. There was always lunch afterwards. There was always like masticholi in the basement, so maybe they were all secretly.
They
getting
didn't
high.
have. Like dabs and like the concentrates now. Like it's just so much stronger than. It's definitely old guys talk about the new weed here, but I don't know. Like I stayed far away from that stuff, even when like I was living or visiting places where weed is legal, because not to get onto weed chat again, but I recall like the experience of being, 18, and somebody I knew at the time having like the hookup with someone who got what they claimed to be like back when like weed from British Columbia was considered like way, way better than stuff you'd get in America, and actually having some and being like really not pleasantly enjoying how long it lasted and how strong it was, like just how intense it was. And it's like, you know what I mean? And it's like, now they have dab rigs. They're like the 100x salvia of that. And it's like,
there's a lot of weed psychosis is being used a lot. And it's like, yeah, the kids you're eating like 1,000 milligrams of THC. What did you think was going to happen,
but also in the same vein that like, if you grew up in the crack era, you probably didn't think that cocaine, the powder, was fucking glamorous, because like you saw people, smoking rocks and going completely nuts. And it's like, similarly, if weed culture to you is you smoke the 100x salvia of weed, then like, you're probably going to think that's bad. Because I smoked 1x salvia and I thought I was going to hell. So like, genuinely, it was one of the worst experiences of my life. So I can understand why people would be turned off from it.
Yeah, I get it. I love it. Weed vapes are great. But let's talk about this: a satirical blend of sommelier savvy and child rearing challenges. Wine expert and wine industry veteran Danielle Frank uncorks reserves of dry wit in her debut book, A Wine Lover's Guide to Parenting, The Fine Art of Wine and Wine, WINE and WHINE Management. Tongue-in-cheek, adults-only survival guide, peppered with a bit of blunt language, blends wine terminology and tasting tips with parenting tenets, delivering full-bodied laughs for anyone raising kids or raising a glass to those who do.
I hate this already. I really hate this. I hate the puns. This feels British coded. And also, like, to be honest with you, it's like unsafe, depending on the age of your kids, like to be consuming alcohol past like a very small amount. If, say, for example, you have to like take care of like a newborn or like an infant, because like, you could literally, it's unsafe. Alcohol can also make you sleepy and like kind of incoherent, even if you're not like hammered. And it's like, it's not safe to be like rocking a baby and feeding them a bottle if you're drunk. Like, it's really dangerous, actually. And also, like, I'm sorry, I am of the generation of children who came to realize later in life, oh, that was the reason why nothing made sense in our household after 8 p.m. I am not a big fan of alcohol and parenting. Here's how you can do more of it, because like, I'm sorry, but like there are a lot of things now looking back, I'm like, oh, that's why. Oh, because they were toasted. Like, I don't like it. Sorry. I don't ever want to be drunk in front of my kid ever. Ever. Fucking ever, man. I would be horrified to be drunk in front of my kid. Jesus Christ.
Here's the next paragraph. Quote, as an avid wine lover, someone who works in the wine and spirits industry, and a nurturer, I love bridging these two worlds, Frank said. As a proud aunt, I get the best seat in the house. I witness the triumphs and tantrums with a glass in hand and no carpool duty.
Wait,
she's
so
not even a parent.
You're a wine
She's not
aunt.
a
You're
parent.
a wine aunt. You're a fucking stealing wine mom valor.
This is you. This woman needs to fucking pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Like maybe we should bring her on and fucking wall to wall on this one.
You're just a drunk auntie. What the fuck are you talking about?
From her vantage point on the sidelines, Frank views parenting through a lighter lens, drawing clever parallels between relatable parenting moments and real wine knowledge.
But you're not a parent. What the fuck are you talking about?
She's just like, can you imagine you're a parent? You're like, oh, I got to get my kid to school. I got to do this. I got 3 kids. There's all different ages. I got to go different places. I got soccer practice. I got dance practice. And you got this woman in the corner, like on her phone with a big ass glass of wine going, I've come up with 11 different ways. This is like drinking wine.
Yeah, like if I hang out in the front of the bus and talk to the bus driver, I can't exactly write a fucking book about being a bus driver now, can I?
I don't know. Maybe you should.
Maybe I should.
Did you do a lot of that? There's your debut book.
What?
My Time as a Bus Driver.
My Time as a Bus Driver. I bothered the guy behind the glass door a lot until he told me to fuck off, but in French.
All right, she distills 11 lessons into easy to read rhymes.
Distilled them. Wow. So you're not even wine you're drinking. It's just fucking straight liquor.
Straight liquor. This is a fortified. We're drinking Thunderbird.
Yeah, exactly.
When we're halfway through here.
Shit, we're drinking. I can't even get into it. You know what I mean? It's like I got the 151 of parenting.
11 lessons into easy to read rhymes, complete with whimsical illustration and clever wordplay, such as
British as fuck, dude. I'm sorry. This is so British.
I haven't seen an errant U anywhere, so I don't know if this is, but it says such wordplay as much like a fine wine, a kid needs to breathe, and que sera sera, what will be will be. Whew.
Does anybody know any private drone operators with the missiles on them, please?
New York Times #1 best-selling author Brad Thor raves, smart, funny, and exactly what every parent needs. A wine lover's guide to parenting goes down easy and pairs perfectly with surviving parenthood.
Shut the fuck up. I don't care what it pairs with.
This woman.
Like, I don't do pairing.
You're not a parent. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what she thinks.
Jesus Christ. That is... I'm sorry, parent valor stolen. You know what? Like, I'm genuinely, I'm a Facebook veteran about this.
Yeah, we can't allow just any drunk to write a book about parenting. Yeah. Like, there's got to be a line. We have to be like, you have got to at least have adopted a child, or, you know, there has to be
child, like
a kid has to be living in your house regularly. Like, a child needs to live in your house for 6 months.
For an indefinite period. Like, okay, it may not last forever. Maybe you had a stepkid. Maybe you dated someone with kids and you live with them. Maybe you're a foster parent, an adoptive parent, a biological parent. Who fucking knows? But what I'm trying to say here is that, like, just because you babysat or you were in the room doesn't mean that you can talk about parenting. And I don't want to gatekeep parenting, but, like, I'm sorry, if you're going to talk about parenting and give parenting advice, like, being an observer to parents is very different than being a parent. Right?
Mm-hmm. I'm not showing you the worst of the worst. Like, if you meet my kid, you'll be like, she's great, she's so smart, she's so kind, she's so nice and wonderful. This child has screamed at me.
She has bad days. She's
nothing.
A kid.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like my kid is wonderful and she's absolutely really well behaved in public, and that's be a little in a way because she's a little bit self-conscious and like aware of other people, and she can be quite shy. And at home she feels comfortable and she's not shy, which is great. But I get yelled at a lot, like incoherently, because like I don't know, because children the age of 2.5 love nothing more than rules with a capital R, but only they get to make the rules, and the rules make no sense. And it's like I love parenting, but like I don't know, man. I love being a parent. It's the best thing, well, the 2 best things that have ever happened to me are getting married and becoming a parent, genuinely. Right behind that, and beneath that in ranking, is getting out of the army. But I guess the thing about it is that you're never not a parent. It's the thing, right? No. Like it doesn't end, and you don't want it to end, but like it's a different thing when like it's your responsibility. Like it's your, like you can't just be like, man, fuck, I can't wait till her parents come home and like I could stop babysitting. I'm not babysitting my kid. It's my kid, you know?
Yeah. Like then I'm always raising my child.
And also it's like, I don't know, not to like sob story for myself or some shit, but like sometimes you're having a pretty busy week and things have been a little stressful, and maybe like you and your partner have been having like, it's been a little bit tense about some stuff you're trying to work out, and you think to yourself, well, at least today I've got a pretty good day of like full-time childcare, off-site, I can get work done. And then you drop your kid off, and then at 3 o'clock you get a call that she's got a fever of 104, and it turns out she's got fucking RSV and she's in the hospital for 8 days immediately starting that night. That happened to me last April. That's being a parent, man. It's fucking hard sometimes. Sometimes it's wonderful. Sometimes it can actually be weirdly easy, and it's really nice. The other day I was doing the dishes, and my daughter loves puzzles, and she's like kid puzzles, like, you know, toddler puzzles. And she literally just stood there where she's got a little toy chest on the clear surface up top and just did puzzles on her own for 20 minutes. I was so proud of her. But like a lot of times I can't do the dishes without being yelled at because she's a toddler. And it's just not, like I said, I don't want to gatekeep it. I don't want to be like, you're a bad person or you can't have an opinion. But the idea of selling a guide to parenting when you're not a parent is pretty rich, quite frankly. And I mean, I'm not saying you couldn't. I'm not saying that no one can weigh in a way that's useful to parents. But like, typically they would have some kind of qualification beyond, I like alcohol and I'm around kids.
Yeah, that's actually a combination I don't want.
Yeah, that kind of raises some fucking alarm bells, if I'm being real with you.
I don't want drunk auntie around here just like dribbling into her bib or whatever. Like, and I would be perfectly fine if this was just like, you know, auntie's wine guide to I don't know. Like, you can't say parenting though because you're not a parent.
That's the thing. Yeah. We
got to put it down. We got to. This is our line here. We are going to be very open about what a parent is. But this woman specifically is like, I am not a parent. I'm an aunt. So by her own definition, she's fucking up here.
Yeah. I mean, like,
put that out there.
I could be like, I don't fucking know, a vapor's guide to being an uncle, but nobody really wants to read that. And also, like, my nephew lives on the U.S. West Coast, so like I don't see him, unfortunately. I'd like to, but like I live in Central Europe. It's difficult. You know what I mean? Like,
but you have a nephew. I do
have a nephew.
Like, you are still ahead on what this woman.
Well, sure, yeah, correct. I have a nephew, but like he's the same age as my daughter, so like he doesn't know me at all yet. And it's like I hope that we do. I'm planning on getting to know him. You know, it's awesome to have a nephew. However, I certainly in February 2026, I could not write a guide to being an uncle, quite frankly.
No, probably not.
And if I tried, it would just be me making shit up because fucking I had no idea.
Can you make a bunch of vape puns though? Can you? See, that's the thing. I think more than anything, it's you need to come up with 11 vape puns, and then we can just fill it in from there. Like, it's real. There's nothing that this woman is saying that, like, come on. One of her things is "Que sera, sera. What will be, will be." Of course, we know what that fucking chapter is going to be about. It's going to be about letting things go, and kids are going to have good days. We already know that.
Que sera, sera, like fucking, was it like instead of SERA, was it SYRAH, like the kind of wine?
Yes. Yes.
I want to do something that the acronym is KMS.
All right, you ready for another one? Anna Redman on modernizing security for real soldiers. This is from Blake. Blake says, I listened to What a Hell of a Way to Die.
That's not what the show's called anymore. Get with the program.
Fine. Love that you're asking questions from a veteran's perspective.
I don't think we're asking a lot of questions. We're
not
just
really.
kind of talking.
Just bullshitting, buddy. It's been the same thing for 9 years. That's exactly who Anna Redman speaks to. Anna's doing something most podcasters don't cover. She's rebuilding the security industry from the ground up, and she's doing it with veteran values. Now, there are 4 values that it names after this with the veteran values. Number 1 is coins, which is a real stumble to start off with, because then it goes into tradition, trust, and community. But like leading with
coins,
you know, those
like
trinkets,
like challenge coins.
I think,
or is coins like
that's
I mean, this would be the most veteran/military thing to say. Here are my 4 values, and one of them is an acronym that stands for 5 other things. But like
counterinsurgency.
Yeah, well,
it's not all capitalized. So it's coins with a capital C. If it was COIN all capitalized, all right, counterinsurgency.
She's
sure.
Selling like challenge coins.
Challenge coins
for cybersecurity. Is it security like man the doors and shit, or is it cybersecurity?
We're only like 4 sentences in, buddy. Hold on. She founded Brav, a fractional CSO service,
what the fuck does that mean?
Brav, a fractional CSO service. I'm not even going to look that up. I am not going to let that be knowledge that I have.
No, I don't want to know what that is. That sounds like
she watched friends get left hanging by security companies that treated them like a line item on a budget. Then she realized the real problem isn't technology; it's recognizing people, honoring them, building teams where people matter. So she created Bravcoin. Physical challenge coins paired with digital NFTs twins on the Sui blockchain. It's not complicated. Authenticate tradition, digitize recognition, and build real teams, Nate. We are still doing NFTs, Nate, and goddamn it, we're gonna do it with a fucking challenge coin. You're stunned silence. I can tell that your gears are working on like how we too can monetize and Coinbase the what a hell of a way to dad audience here.
I've got some pretty strong opinions about cultures of, the way that like cultures of authoritarianism and patriarchy reproduce themselves specifically in the military. But like, I also think that this person should have gotten a blanket party. Sorry.
I bet this person was never actually in the military.
Probably not.
Well, I may be mispronouncing this because it's BRAAV coin.
Brav
so
coin?
Maybe Brave coin because they're for troops. So if you go to brave.co challenge coin, you can see it's got 3 coins. One of them is Ethereum, one of them is a Bitcoin, and one of them is Ripple.
So they're
that's it. It's just
shit coins, but they're on the other exchanges on that platform.
Yes, okay. But you get a physical. See, here's the thing: you get a physical coin this way, and somehow that's better. Instant recognition. It's just got a bunch of people clapping. That's very nice. Oh man, this is so like. We just took a bunch of GIFs and videos off of Shutterstock and are just throwing these in here. Because I have no enhance employee engagement, reward and motivate your team with a coin that carries value. Literally, money carries value. I don't know why that wouldn't be the coin that it would give people.
But the Brav shit is like, it's like physical penetration stuff. Like literally is what they call it. As in like, we're going to send, I don't know, white hat fucking, gun nerds or whomever, like to go and see if your security practices are good. Like, we're gonna fake a school shooting at your fucking workplace or something. Like it's like physical security. It's not IT or data security. Like this is like, I don't know, like white flight suburb Blackwater shit.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it worse in a way, because IT security stuff is similar. It can be similar, like gimmicky and scammy, but like it doesn't involve this. I don't like this at all.
No, I don't like it either. Their website says a digital challenge coin is a blockchain-based token that modernizes the tradition of physical challenge coins. It's stored securely in a digital wallet, and your team can trade it, showcase it, or redeem it for rewards. The coin represents your company's brand, achievement, and values in a tangible digital form. It's company dollars. It's the fucking company store.
Like a challenge coin is just some dumb bullshit you put in like a little display case. Like it's like a souvenir. It's memorabilia. It's like I met the sergeant major of the army, or like I got this for having a really nice haircut because the command sergeant major of my brigade in I don't fucking know Hawaii was like, all right, soldier, and gave it to me. Like that's what it is. Like I met General Petraeus. He seemed like he was in a hurry to write an email on Gmail to someone. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is. Like why does this need to be on the blockchain? Like they serve no purpose in the military. They're gimmicks in the military. Why do you need to like? Do
you still have? Did you take your challenge coins to Switzerland with you?
I have like
when you moved to Switzerland,
plastic tough box full of like all my just collected military memorabilia. Like I have like a. The fucking what do we call them in the army, like the boonie hats, you know what I mean, like the
all the way around.
I have an Australian Army boonie hat. I have like some like patches and shit I got from some French guys in Afghanistan. I have some stuff like that, but I mean I don't think if I have any challenge coins, like they're there by accident. You know what I mean? Like,
I've got one from Kenneth Preston, who was Sergeant Major of the Army in Afghanistan when I was there in 2004. And I got to design our challenge coin when we were in Iraq. So I have some challenge coins that like are meaningful to me because like I made them, or somebody who I gave a shit about was like, hey, have one of our coins. I wasn't a collector.
I have one piece of actual military memorabilia that is at least to some extent cool to have. Like it sort of means something to me in a way. I mean, like it's like, hey man, you're doing a great job in a fucked environment, and it's a bad thing. And it's like, I have come to see the entire venture is immoral, but it was something that I appreciated, which is I ran this coordination center in the province we were in Afghanistan. They had this concept at the time around the, kind of the ramping up of the surge in Afghanistan. I was there 09-10. They called them OCCPs, or Operations Coordination Center Provincial. The idea was to have them in every province, but obviously that's somewhat difficult because like every province in Afghanistan that had coalition forces, it was like from every possible NATO military. And, the southern part of the country was mostly the Brits. Everywhere else in the east, central part of the country was mostly us. Randomly, you'd have the Danes or the Norwegians or the Germans in the north and shit like that. But the idea was, I don't know if they ever actually did have OCCPs in every province, but we had one. I know we had one, and I know they had one in Kandahar because my buddy worked at it years later. So I ran the Paktika OCCP when I was there. And in 2009, the basically Afghan theater commander was a guy named Stan McChrystal. And Stan McChrystal did a battlefield rotation and basically was like, I'm going to visit every U.S. military facility in Afghanistan, or every coalition military facility, because it was, he was technically in charge of a bunch of other country soldiers too. And he did. He rotated all across and went and saw people and saw what was happening. He came to our outpost. We met him. We talked. He asked me a little bit what we were doing. I told him, I showed him stuff. And then like a month later, I got a letter from him being like, Dear Lieutenant Bethea, I was really impressed with your team. What you're doing is, important to the effort. And like, I realized that like, these are the kinds of things where people are, making the best of the situation and trying to be innovative. That's going to help. That's going to get us to where we need to be. And it's, signed Stan McChrystal on 4-star general letterhead. And I was like, oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
So I kept it.
That's, I feel like people don't understand how far just a very personal, hey, thank you for what you're doing will take you in this
handwritten
world.
Letter, genuinely. Now, like I said,
that's nice.
The war kind of fucked, more than kind of fucked.
And General Stanley McChrystal also kind of fucked, but a very nice thing he did.
Stan McChrystal's career involved.
Wasn't he the one who like only ate once a day and like ran?
Yes.
He's the reason why we for a period of time no longer had like Burger King.
Yes, that was like, him and his CSM basically were like, get rid of the fun.
Yeah, get rid of all these nice things that people like.
Because
well, the reason they did it was because all the main bases had it, and all of the shitty little outpost bases didn't. And they were like, well, we think that the shitty little outpost bases, rather than get them Burger King, we're going to take Burger King away from everybody. And all the people on the shitty outpost bases were like, we liked going to the base and getting Burger King, though. We did that shit like twice a week.
It was pretty sick when we could rotate back to whatever the battalion fob was, and we could get Domino's or Pizza Hut or whatever.
Yeah, like I get it. For my PAO ass, definitely didn't need to be eating Domino's every day. But I was out at the shitty little bases all the time myself. But yeah, that was one of those. They took all that away, and like nobody was happy about it. But he wrote you a nice letter. That was nice, though.
Yeah, he did. Like I said, definitely don't look into his career in Iraq.
Nope. No.
Definitely don't look into his career as fucking the JSOC commander. I think he was a JSOC commander when Pat Tillman was killed. However, I did appreciate the letter. I will say that much.
All right. Nate, Valentine's Day is coming up. We got a couple of emails about Valentine's Day and how we can, do some romantic content, I suppose. We have how your bedroom may be killing the spark and how to fix it. Looking for a fresh psychology-based angle for your Valentine's Day coverage? We have Dr. Rachel Melved, licensed psychotherapist, couples therapist, founder of Psychiture, a neurodesign-based design consultancy. Neurodesign-based design consultancy.
A lot of words.
Neurodesign-based design consult. I can't. This is my she sells seashells. I don't even know what that means. What is a neurodesign?
Neurodesign is an ATM machine-based consultancy.
That's my PIN number. To discuss physical spaces directly impact intimacy, attraction, emotional connection, and why many couples are unknowingly designing desire out of their relationships. So we've got a couple of examples here.
This is like fucking neuroscience feng shui about how you should make your bedroom more conducive to like fucking certain kinds of energy. So that, I don't know, like, you know what is even more conducive to having a romantic life? Having free time and being well rested.
Yeah. Well, look, here's the thing. This neurodesign-based design consultancy, which is going to discuss physical spaces impacting intimacy, all of the things that are in here are the exact same things that you would read in any book about this. But this is neurodesign, though. So we've got lighting and temperature. Harsh lighting and mismatched temperature can quietly erode intimacy. Soft ambient lighting and temperature regulating bedding help partners feel calm, safe, and connected. The foundation for desire, which, yeah.
Sure, yeah, but I don't think that the kind of bedding makes as much of a difference as some of the other larger factors in terms of one's intimate life.
Yeah, well, we've got the TV problem. The screen in your bedroom may seem harmless, but it fragments attention, reduces eye contact, and keeps the brain on high alert mode. And I would say I don't understand why we're saying TV and not, cell phones, because that's, my big problem is I sit in the bed sometimes at the end of the day and I'm just like zoning out at my phone. Let's see, the sensory design for connection. From acoustics that calm the nerve system to fabrics that regulate body temperatures, Dr. Melvid shares small environmental shifts that can reduce conflict and increase intimacy. Are the acoustics, you're the sound guy, are the acoustics in your bedroom, do they make you horny? Is that a thing?
I don't think that acoustics will make that much of a difference, but I mean, here's the thing. I would say in my own life, without revealing too much information, got a pretty comfortable bed. The bedroom is set up pretty ergonomically for what we need it for in terms of like the space available to us and the stuff we have to store in there and the fact that we both sleep in there. Less pressing of a concern than the acoustics or the types of fabric. We don't have a TV in the room. We don't typically use our phones or iPad in the bedroom. Is more, how does one get into the mood? Well, here's the thing about getting into the mood, right? Typically at the end of the day, when you put a small child to bed, and that has been a struggle, you are tired, so you probably may not be in the mood. And unfortunately, at our stage in life, being in the mood is very much thrown off by the subconscious and very conscious present fear of your entire body, brain, ears, nervous system listening for baby making noise. Like you are completely on guard for like, is child making noise? And am I making noise that might alert child? So it's just kind of different. Like, I mean, maybe there is like some kind of magic sensory thing. Like, you know, if you have this kind of, I don't know, combination silk or like 1,000 thread count cotton shit, something like that, that's like, it like tickles you in a special way and you get turned on or whatever. I think those are probably like, fine, sure, cool. If maybe it's a placebo effect, maybe it does help. For acoustics, I mean, I guess if you
don't want it big and echoey.
No, you don't want it big and echoey.
You don't want to be fucking in Penn Station, you know?
Well, no, but you also don't want to have it like, you don't want to like build a soundproof enclosure with like ISO damping and shit like that. And then your room gets really, really hot all the time.
Fucking in the room that has no sound.
Yeah, exactly. It's like sorry,
you can hear the squelching of your bits together.
The only way that we can actually have the romantic spark is for us to have sex in the room that Control gives us briefings in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
I can only have sex in the sensory deprivation chamber.
Look, man, I don't think it's that important relative to other things, and it's like also it's cool, but I mean it's laughing because everything she's describing basically sounds like she does like interior design, but with like this fake angle of neuroscience or neurodesign. And that's why she had to call it a neurodesign design consultancy, because if she just said a neurodesign consultancy, then people would call it thinking they could get her to build like Mother Brain from Metroid.
And look, as a father to somebody, a father to one and married to another person with spicy brains with sensory problems, I get this. Sensory things are very important. Again, though, we're not this is not mold breaking. You didn't need to go to the neurodesign space to figure out don't have a TV in your bedroom. Yep. I've been saying that for decades, that you shouldn't. I don't have a TV in my bedroom either. I'm not great with the phone, but I always read before bed though. And whatever is happening here, like as you said, this is kind of I need to advertise my neurodesign space. So I'm going to do it by giving you the most basic information that everybody should already know. But it's about, Valentine's Day. We got to tie all these things in together. So we've got decor kills the mood, family photos in the bedroom, a total desire killer. You don't want to look at your parents while trying to connect romantically.
Wait, so don't have photos of your parents, or what is that what they're saying?
Okay, so I have family photos up in, and I have, we've changed the decor around, but I have had family photos up in the bedroom. They're not exactly in my eye line though.
But also, who fucking cares? Is that what you're looking at? Is your eye wandering? I mean, okay, if it bothers you, then take it down. But typically when one commences intimate acts, your eyes and attention are elsewhere. They're not on oh shit, there's my grandpa who fought in the fucking Philippine insurrection or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I should call mom. This is very American Psycho.
It really
this is
is
very Patrick Bateman.
But it's also very American too, in the sense that it assumes that your room is big as fuck and echoey, and you've got weird ass pictures that you threw on the wall for no reason and a huge TV. It's I'm sorry. Also, this feels like a problem for people who haven't come to the obvious conclusion. In the sense of, okay, if these things are distracting enough to be mood killers, then that should probably be obvious to you, like you said, Francis, without requiring a consultancy. And it's if anything, it feels like if the problem is that obvious, then it's probably a thing that one person doesn't feel comfortable telling the other person in the relationship that this is a problem. And that's a bigger issue than whether or not, your sheets are the right kind of like the whatever thread count required to achieve maximum erection or whatever the fuck. I don't know. I mean, I was laughing. I was like, why don't you go the different direction? I want someone to send us a cold email pitch about like, actually, the way to get in the mood is that you have to be in your bedroom playing Hyperpop. The only way that it's possible to get the spark back is to listen to 100 gecs while in bed. Like, that would at least be funny. That would at least entertain that notion. Like, a friend of mine once got a message on OkCupid from a guy in a horse mask who was in character as the horse. And she laughed so much that she was like, I will genuinely go on a date with you, but you have to tell me who you are. And the guy was like, I refuse to break character. I am the horse.
Yes, this is an absolutely insane email that you would get from somebody. Now, I do want to say, though, again, these are not bad ideas. Her final one here says intimacy versus desire. Dr. Melvid distinguishes between environments that foster emotional intimacy, such as soft light, calm, co-regulation, and those that spark desire, like stimulating colors and scents and sensory cues. So, throwing up, reds and blues to turn your wife on. Both matter, but they both serve different relational needs.
Throwing up reds and blues to turn your wife on sounds like you need to have a fucking cop car circle the house. Like, what are you talking? I know that's a thing. If you combine them, you get bisexual lighting, and that feels like it's the opposite of the issue that people are looking at right here.
I mean, it depends on your bedroom, buddy. But the idea of simulating color, sense, and sensory cues, like, it's funny because, like, I do agree with these things in some way, but also it sounds like you're talking about a baby. Like, it sounds like, a way of, like, making a child, like, you want your child's, like, brain synapses to be popping open, at the age of 8 months, so you need to be using stimulating color, sense, and sensory cues to make them, but also apparently that turns your wife on.
It kind of sounds like you're doing sleep training, like, quite frankly. It's I don't really, I guess for me it's like, I don't know, that's never been.
Well, here's the thing, look, I know you and I are both dancing around it because we're both men in our 40s who are in happy marriages and who have kids. So, like, look, we don't have to get into it, but, like, you gotta talk to your partner about these things. Like, all of these, this is a whole, like, how these things can affect relationships. What this all comes down to is you need to be talking to your partner and discussing these things, because my wife and I do all the time, whether it be intimacy, whether it be child raising, whether it be anything, all the things that we do, because you're your partner and you're supposed to be doing that. And you can't be, when you've been married to somebody for 16 years, why are you, like, hesitant to talk about
and also it's like, it's much better to talk and foster that trust and communication than to be like, oh, if you buy this, it's basically like sex Lysol that you spray it in the air and it gets everybody in the mood.
Right.
Like, we're not, this is not like, people who breed hogs for a living. They have to fucking, like, spray boar's breath on them or some shit. Like,
right. It's not the, we're not trying to get two pandas to make a baby panda here. It's, just talk to people. Yeah. It's okay. All right, let's see. We've got one more. Valentine's Day is often presented as a celebration of love, but is highly commercialized. Expectations can also intensify pressure, disappointment, and emotional strain for many people. Sorry, this is a new email. I'd like to share a press release examining how this pressure is linked to worse mental health outcomes, particularly among dating app users. You'll find psychiatrist comments on how behaviors such as rejection, ghosting, and ambiguous connections can amplify low mood and anxiety around this time of year, and even induce changes in suicide risk around Valentine's Day. Let me know if you have any questions. Nate, I am so glad I never had to date on an app. Like, this is one that I don't want to make too much fun of, because, like, I feel sorry for everybody that's trying to, like, fuck through their phone. It sounds insane. I couldn't do it.
I did use OkCupid. And I actually met somebody that I dated for 2 years. And that was at the stage of OkCupid when they had introduced swiping. But it wasn't like Tinder or Hinge or any of the other ones. Yeah. I don't actually know what any of those are like. I've just seen people's screenshots. I used OkCupid. I met someone. Actually, we matched, and then I reached out, and then I never heard a response. And then a couple of months later, I actually heard back from her, and she was like, I was kind of getting out of a relationship at the time, but I was interested in talking to you, and that is now completely done. So I'd love to talk to you. And that's how we wound up meeting for the first time. But then, like, nice. And then we wound up dating for 2 years, and we're still friends. I mean, like, I wasn't going to live in Korea permanently, and she wasn't going to move to America. So, like, that wasn't going to work out, but, like, it was actually fine. And I have some friends who have met partners on Hinge and Bumble and stuff like that. And, like, it's worked out. But yeah, I also hear a lot of stories that sound horrible. miserable.
Right. It's just a wasteland.
I would say that personally, like, I don't like talking about this in hypotheticals in the sense of it always kind of sounding like there's something implied here. But if the situation in my life were different, I do not believe that I would be on the apps. I think I would prefer to be single and do stuff in real life and hopefully meet people that way. Obviously, like, you do have to kind of pick and choose what your activities are if you want to meet people that, you know, you are potentially going to be attracted to. So there are certain things that are gonna, I mean, like, it's not universal or ironclad, but like, you are probably more likely to meet, if you are attracted to women, for example, you're probably more likely to meet women at an Italian class than you are in, like, I don't know, fucking
at the Warhammer 40K meetup?
A Warhammer convention. I mean, I'm sure there are exceptions, or like, I don't know, like class on how to get better at using like a fucking router to do woodworking. But there's always exceptions.
But you're going to meet some great guys at that woodworking.
You will be Uncle Maxing like nobody's business. And maybe they know better venues in which one can meet potential partners. So, but I mean, yeah, when I hear stories about it, man, I definitely think that it can be depressing. And I think the thing that's weird to me is like, there does seem to be, like, it was as if ghosting and shit wasn't a thing before, but it feels like that's more kind of ingrained into it. You know, people that I know who are on apps have told stories about stuff like, like seeing people to the point where like they've actually met in person, they've gone on dates, but they're still only communicating through the apps, and then the person just randomly blocking them, even when things were seemingly going quite well. Like, there wasn't any obvious reason why. And like, you know, you don't necessarily, like, you're not like obligated to write like a fucking, you know, formal breakup letter, but that's pretty weird when you've got a human in real life connection and then you subsequently do that. And I mean, I definitely know that from gay friends, like the stuff I hear about fucking the gay apps, like it's much harsher and worse, and like just mean. And also there's a lot of scammers and shit. Like, there's a lot of like AI scammer bullshit, and people like getting extorted, like getting like bullied into sending nudes, and then be like, now we're going to blackmail you and shit like that. So it sounds bad, man. I don't know. Like, I can't be like, don't use apps, be a Luddite, but I am saying that like, I definitely would not, I think, given where it is now, if I were single. But thanks be to God, because I'm a fucking idiot, I'm not single. And I'm not planning on being single. So guess what? I guess I'm kind of non-parent aunt telling the bus driver what to do right now. But, you know, that's my 2 cents. I definitely think this would be an interesting conversation, but not for this podcast, about how this stuff affects people psychologically, and like explicitly from the perspective of someone who does that kind of research, as opposed to just like us being like, it fucking sucks. People are like, yeah, it fucking sucks. It's like, made me feel like shit. It's like, right. But if there's like a, you know, qualitative assessment of it, that's quite interesting. That's just kind of not our wheelhouse. And I'm interested as to why we're on some fucking marketer list. I know that there's some PR list.
Oh yeah. I mean, this whole email at the end, it's called Flow Neuroscience, and it's a healthcare company that focuses on TDCS therapies and devices. So, you know, it's people with stuff to sell, always stuff to sell.
I feel like we should just be like, yo, pitch us if you're just like a random ass person and you want to talk about something.
I do. I told you, I have always, like, look, I had a guy on to talk about deforestation. Like, I have always been, if you have an interesting job and you think you can talk about it for 45 minutes with me, I mean, you've been listening, you know that I love my brain spiciness is I love to talk to somebody and ask them lots of questions and learn all kinds of new things about them. So if you've got one of those jobs, fucking come on over, man. Let me know. Like, don't cold email me if you're like a normal person who actually does. Because all these people are like, oh, I love your podcast. You don't. No, you don't. You don't care.
It's like when people fucking PR email Trash Future and like, the CEO would be a great person to be on your show to talk about tech and the thing. And we're always like, if you listen to the show for 5 fucking minutes, you would know that the last thing you want is for your company to be featured on Trash Future. That's that 100%. But you've never listened to the show, and it's like, yeah, it kills me.
Right. I mean, we got a cold email to get Rudy Giuliani on the show, and I mean, as much as I would love to have believed that was a thing, that's just not the kind of vibe that I'm going for.
I would prefer to not have Rudy Giuliani on the podcast.
Yeah. For any reasons at all.
I was going to ask you really quickly before you go, Francis. Yeah. You got any new hobbies / dad skills you've acquired? Because I was thinking that could be an interesting question.
Oh yeah. So something that we recently ordered a frame TV. It's the the TV, I don't know if you've seen these, but they're very flat. They're meant to be flush mounted to the same degree as a like a normal picture. So the idea is that it looks like, just when you're not watching TV, it just looks like a big piece of art. Got a great deal through the exchange. All you veterans, if you're not using the exchange, I don't know what you're doing. But I was trying to figure out like running electrical and how I'm, it's like, okay, look, I'm going to have to do this recessed box, and I'm going to have to run electrical from here on up. And I mean, at the end of it all, it turns out I don't have to do any of this stuff, because the whole frame TV is run off of like one wire. It's insane. I'm very excited about it. But I had already diagrammed out and gotten everything that I needed, and was planning to basically punch a hole in my wall and wire in a new electrical box. So that's something that I had planned. I know how to do, and so I was excited about doing that. But the other thing that I have to do is I got a new roof put on my house, and when they put the roof on, I had them put a vent in, because my bathroom does not have a outside vent. So we had them put that on there, and I have to cut a hole in my bathroom ceiling, install a vent, and then vent it, and then run it up through the thing. So all things that like I'm excited to do that aren't going to cost me a whole lot of money, which is very exciting too. Like it's going to cost like, that whole thing is going to cost maybe $150 altogether. And just having that, I guess it's not a new skill, but I am really culminating the skills that I have gained in, building my pod shack and, having a house that was 130 years old. Like now it's just like, oh, I need to cut a hole in a ceiling and do this, and then drop electrical and then punch a hole here. And I feel perfectly comfortable doing all that. Like I got to cut. No, I got it. So yeah, very excited.
I have less experience in that because I don't own a home, and so like obviously there's some things I can't really do here, but I was happy because we thought about potentially getting an additional light fixture in the kitchen to do like a pendant lamp over our dining room table, because we have capped light fixture, sort of like points of attachment that you can uncap and you can install additional ones. But I was like, I'm not 100% sure, because I don't like the idea of it being all or nothing, and I could potentially install an interrupter, but I would prefer like, is there actually a separate circuit? Is it going to turn both on and off? And I have the tools to be able to get up on a ladder, take it out, take the cap off, pull out I know how to identify, live and neutral. I have, what's it called? A multimeter. And I know how to safely clip in the multimeter to those leads and then turn the power on and see and determine the power that turns on the light turns on all the lights in the room. And so I've saved myself the hassle of potentially having to install this thing and then realize it doesn't do what I want. And now I'd have to get an interrupter. I don't even know like infrared ones, how that would work. I'm sure they exist, but it's going to be annoying. What I've determined now is if we're going to do this, I'm just going to get a light fixture that has, unterminated leads that I can just put a power plug on and run it like probably either clip it or put conduit, like really, really narrow conduit in the ceiling to run a line to a power switch. So I could just do it that way. Because otherwise it's like the idea is that in the summertime when it's still daylight, like maybe you want to have a light over the dining room table, but you don't want the whole room lights on. But I would prefer to do it that way and have that choice versus having to get an interrupter or some kind of like remote switch, which even then what all that does is allow me to turn. I would have to go and actually, quite frankly, I would have to go in and install two new light fixture with one and take out my current light fixture and put another interrupter in there. And it's like, that's annoying. And I don't want to have like fucking remotes and shit. So I think this will be, and so I was at least able to figure it out by doing a diagnostic instead of running out and doing it first and then be like, oh no, it doesn't do what I want. And like, having to like undo that work. And then I guess side things and other skill sets for dad related stuff. Man, I got a bomb ass recipe for meatballs from a sort of Swiss website. Man, it was sort of like Italian inspired, I guess, or maybe it's just an Italian recipe because it's there's an Italian part of Switzerland, but I'm just going to approximate it here because it's metric, but I can do it in my head because I've done it so many times that I know it by heart. You take a pound of meat. Typically meatballs in Italian cuisine are typically pork, but you can also do like a bolognese mix of like half beef, half pork. Salt. I like a salty stuff, so I typically put like 2 or 3 teaspoons of salt for a pound of meat, 1 egg, about 3/4 of a cup of breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs tend to be quite fine here, like almost like almost like cream of wheat level of graininess. So that you just however you want that.
Not your Plankos, kids.
You could do panko if you wanted to, but like it. But I think this works better. Fennel seeds, ground fennel seeds, like a quarter teaspoon of ground fennel seeds, a quarter teaspoon of red pepper, like red pepper flakes, or I just have Korean gochugaru, like red pepper powder. Put that in there, and chop up some flat parsley and mix it in there, and then like as coarsely or as finely as you want to do it, mince up either like one medium-sized white onion or like 3 or 4 cloves of garlic. So off the top, just to make sure I'm not messing this up, you have a pound of meat, 1 egg, 3/4 cups of breadcrumbs, a quarter teaspoon of ground fennel seeds, quarter teaspoon of red chili powder. I do 2 to 3 teaspoons of salt, but you can do less or more depending on how much salsa you want it. Black pepper, and then mix it up. I've got a KitchenAid, just mix it, churn it, however you want to do it. Form it into balls. I do 180 Celsius, which is, I want to say like 400, 425. But I'm sorry I can't do this in my head right now. But let me just Google that for you. 180 C to F. 350. I do it at 350 for about 30 to 45 minutes, but just take a look at like once they're kind of browning. And then if you've got a meat thermometer, put it in, you want it to be at least 165 or 170 for Fahrenheit for beef. And yeah, take them out, let them cool. If you want, take them out, put them on a plate, cover them with like a bowl or something to rest them a little bit. Insane. Just insane. Wonderful. Not hard. I mean, having a stand mixer helps, but you can do it in a bowl. However,
yeah, this sounds real. Yeah. It's very simple recipe.
Sometimes they put like ricotta cheese or grated Parmesan cheese into the mixture, but you can do it however. I forgot, if it feels kind of dry in the mix, milk or cream, just like 2 tablespoons worth, just a little, but just adding a little bit of liquid in to like help it absorb. Yeah, do it that way. Man, this is such an easy recipe. Like, it sounds like a lot, but it's actually quick as fuck, and it's basically a main course. So that's the one. I would talk about music kit stuff, but that's a little bit niche, and a lot of wives out there probably don't want the dad listeners of this podcast to hear me encouraging them to buy more fucking sound kit if that's what they're into. So I'm keeping it straight. I'm keeping it safe diagnostics to avoid doing a DIY project that makes your life worse, and then also a good meatball recipe.
There you go. Make your wife happy this Valentine's Day. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. I think I'll try to transcribe that down in the notes there, so it's a little bit easier for everybody to grab that recipe. We should do a recipe book at some time, because you always have it be like Nate's, fantastic oxtail soup that he spends 4 hours making, and then Francis's bucket of slop that he can eat out of for 4 days straight. I am
throwing some shit straight in the Instant Pot in about 2 hours. So believe me, I contain multitudes.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you next week.
Take care.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.